Hello everyone, this is Oreo Blaster. In this video, we're going to be going over the most efficient ways to clear camps as Hanzo with the scatter build. Oh, jittery camera. Okay, so obviously, I mean the build is like very straightforward on this. Simple geometry. Let's assume we already finished that. Serrated Arrows, never outmatched. Ult is kind of personal preference, but I really like Dragonstrike because of the level 20 upgrade. And it's also really good at zoning people, more so than just doing damage. Like you can split an entire team with it. I really prefer mounted archery. Piercing arrows feels like it's just better than Giant Slayer and Dragon Awakens. So I forgot. Let me reset that. So initially, in order to take a siege camp, obviously you want to try to land every single separate scatter arrow on the merc, because if you miss any, that's just time, like that's extra time you need to spend on clearing it. So see, obviously with this build you can clear these camps insanely fast. I missed one there. See that, and then if you do stuff like that, it's like, oh great, now I have to stay here for even longer. So it can be potentially a bit like tedious if you have to spend a lot of time on it. And by the way, I'm choosing to do this on Cursed Hollow because the actual shape of the merc camps in try mode feels like doesn't quite demonstrate what I want to do with these camps. So you can merc with almost with every talent you take, you can merc faster. With the level 1 talent, you get 2 extra hits in. I know a lot of people have been going Redemption instead now, but I still prefer simple geometry just because it helps with your burst damage on people when you are trying to chase down someone. Serrated Arrows, that's when you can actually start merking, but it still takes a little bit too long. And then once you have never outmatched, you can just start clearing camps really fast. And then once you get piercing arrows, it just becomes trivial. So initially, before you have the piercing arrows, the best ways to do these are to fire at straight through one of the mercs, because I want to let this leash. It specifically says that it only collides, the actual initial scatter arrow hits terrain in structures or an enemy hero. It doesn't hit minions, mercenaries, or monsters. So I can just straight up shoot this through the merc and don't have to worry about it. Like, I don't have to stand over here. Leash. So like I don't have to stand like off to the side and try to hit this and then potentially miss. I mean, it's still like kind of hard to miss when you do that, but I don't have to risk that because I can just fire it straight through the merc. And then once you get 16, you can start to do some really fancy looking stuff where you can bank it off of this wall, and it'll bounce through all of them, or it'll bounce through both of them, and then you can clear it with 2 scatters really quickly. As for the night camp, actually, what am I doing? I could just move there. Okay. For the night camp, it can actually be really difficult to take if you don't have, or it takes quite a while. If you just have never outmatched and you lose if you don't have piercing arrows, you're gonna lose a decent amount of health to the camp. Let me demonstrate that. So if I only have these talents, you need to kill the caster minion first because he's gonna reduce all the damage that your scatters do. So it's best to just kill him immediately. And then if you have never I missed that one. If you have never outmatched, you can just sort of stay in the back, try to make it so that only 2 of them can hit you. Like this guy has to spend more time walking around. So clearly I messed up some with clearing that, but it still took most, like even if I didn't miss that shot, I still would have lost over half my health to the camp. So that can be really difficult to deal with. Also, man, these mercs get a lot of value if no one's there to clear them. So if we have piercing arrows, this becomes a lot easier. So I'm going to position about here. There's a little corner here. You can also do it on one of these other sides, but it's better to hit the smaller one first because it's easier to hit. You hit that, and then it does this really cool looking bounce that hits all of the camp. I'm gonna die of this. Okay, well again, if I had more health, I would have survived that. So let me speed this up so we don't have to wait too long. Can I just? Okay, good. I was like, there better be an instant respawn feature. Okay, well the caster minion or the caster dude in the back is no longer there, so it's gonna be a little bit easier looking. You can clear it really quickly by doing stuff like this. And because ideally you not only want to hit every or most of the minions in the camp. You all essentially you want to not only have it pierce initially, like at least one thing. You want to try to have it hit as many things in the camp as possible, and maybe even hit things multiple times. You just do this because it looks cool. As for bosses, it's a lot harder, especially with. I mean, it's actually I shouldn't say it's hard. It's impossible to do by yourself because it's just you don't have the health pool. But if you have any other backups, will he punch that? Hey boss, will you smack that? Smack the. Aww. That's a bummer. Kill him. Kill him. Okay, that's not gonna work. So you can like totally chunk the boss. You just need someone to tank it for you. Especially on this, he's gonna unleash him. You can do the same kind of shenanigans where you can bounce it, and if you actually position correctly, you can have it bounce a whole bunch and do a decent amount of damage. But the whole trick is that generally you want to try your best on these camps to never miss any of your initial arrows, and just... Oh, why am I backing? Wait. There we go. You want to just try to always hit all of your arrows on the merc camp you want to complete, and also if you're doing a boss, you need someone to tank it for you. But if someone's there to tank it for you, don't feel free to get it as quickly as you can. Like look at how fast this camp clear is. Okay, I missed that one. But you can take camps like nobody's business, and it's even easier with things like the Impalers on Battlefield of Eternity or Infernal Shrines. So that's it for mercs. For minion waves, obviously you want to try to bounce it off of a wall and hit as many of the minions as you can. Let me go back a step. So initially, when you only have like the first three, and you're trying to kill off minions, it can feel like it's a bit harder to kill off as many as you'd like because it doesn't pierce. So like let's say there's gonna be a minion wave right here, any second. So I want to position in a way that I can get a good angle on the entire wave, so that I hopefully don't miss any of my shots as it goes through. If the wave is more bunched up, like something over here, or you're trying to hit it off of a bit of an awkward angled wall, you just need to try to reposition yourself so that you can hit anything that you need to. And it can be really weird because it feels like you're almost playing. You're playing much more of a caster like Kel'Thuzad when you're doing scatter build, because you're really focused on your character's positioning rather than like really anything else. I mean, I'm always moving around being like, all right, how can I like bank it like this? Can I do that? Cool. Like, how can I bank it off of the wall where I'm also not in danger? And also, let's say maybe if there is someone who's going to flank me, am I covering this or this bush? Am I close enough to this wall that if I need to, I can panic jump over it? Stuff like that. It's really important to consider. Oh, I can get this wave by doing this. Important note, if you... How should I phrase this? Your scatters will go through your gates, but they will not pass through the enemy gate. They'll bounce off the enemy gate. So that means that if somebody is... Oh. Oh, it spawns at the center of your camera. Okay. So if someone is, let's say, like, oh, I'm going to run through the gate, you can... Okay, well, I didn't hit that one. You can fire it past them so that it hits them as they're walking into the gate. So, like, let's say someone's running up to that, you go, shoot, and then you can hit them for a pretty sizable burst if you land most of them. It's a bit of an awkward gate because it's at an angle. Let me go here. Alright, so let's say, oh, I'm gonna try to hit him. I just did 1,200 damage with that scatter just as they were running through the gate. Now these minions are gonna soak up some of the shots, but it's kind of amazing how much burst you can get on somebody as they're running away, and it can be really good, especially if they're low health and they're running away. Like, you can just chunk somebody. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else important about this. Obviously, having the piercing arrows makes clearing minion waves that much easier. Also, you can hit like off of these wall segments, but it's super awkward. But yeah, you can clear minion waves really quickly with the piercing arrows. Like, look at that! I just destroyed this wave instantly. And you can also hit more than one person like that, which gives you ridiculous damage. Also, if you are, let's see, if I have the Dragon Awakens upgrade, I'm just going to hit these people, and then, yes, I know they're not going to move, so it makes it look way better than it actually is, but say I hit them with 2 sets of scatters. I missed some of those. There we go, and it's like, oh look, I have my ult back up. Let me do that again. And I have it again. So that's why I like this particular build. But yeah, so Scatter build I think is the best build on Hanzo because it has the highest DPS and has like the best burst damage at the cost of being really... Oh, and also it's like the best at murking and clearing waves for the most part. I mean, explosive arrowheads is really good too, or arrows. But it just feels like Scatter build is just the best. It just can be really hard to get value out of it unless you're good at angling your scatters, and that's something I still find myself trying to improve. So let's say, I should say, where Scatter build really shines. Wait, stop moving over there. Is if you have someone who finds themselves in a corridor, then you can do something like this, and then they just like explode. They're gone. I mean, this person, and I know this is a really tight corridor, but like taking 4,000 damage from one ability instantly, it's pretty ridiculous. Let's say there's somebody. God, where's the dummy? Okay, so we know there's a target dummy in there. This is also really notable. So obviously in sections like this, but especially places like on Black Hearts, where next to Turn-In there's like this really there's a terrain area that looks just like this. You can completely murder people who are hiding in these. And you can also find them really easily because you're sort of just flushing them out by sending your arrows everywhere. Like if I go like this, I've scanned most of this with just one ability, which is really handy. Now granted, Hanzo can just also fire an arrow and see everything, but that's different. And that person again just took 4,000 damage. I know it's not always 4,000 damage, but like even if I missed it and I went like that, okay, wait, it didn't reset. It's still like insane damage. You can massively punish someone for standing in a bottleneck, or heck, if somebody's even walking. If somebody's even like, you're chasing somebody and they walk next to a wall, you can fire at the wall and you can hit them with most of the burst just right off the bat and punish them for essentially being near a wall or close enough where you can hit them with the cluster of scatters. So it's very, very powerful. Yeah, that's basically all there is to it. I think that it's a very strong build, and you can do some serious damage if someone's in a very bad spot. Even I should also mention, obviously this is because of the piercing arrows. Even if you didn't have piercing arrows, I mean, like, let's for the sake of it, let's just say that you didn't get to 16 yet. This still does. Where's this? Like, if you hit someone with all of these, it still does a lot of damage. I know that we're past level 20, but it's very significant if you can hit them with all of the shots. And if you, for whatever reason, decide, oh, I want to go Giant Slayer because they have maybe a lot of tanks, I still feel like piercing arrows is better, but you can do a sizable amount of damage with that. I think piercing arrows is just better than Giant Slayer no matter what, though. So yeah, this build is really fun, and my favorite part about it was that it had me look at the game in a totally different way that I hadn't looked like there'd never really been a character other than maybe Junkrat, but he was also really recent with Hanzo, that it felt like it just made me look at the game way differently. Because now I'm looking at it as, if there's an enemy, not put it behind our towers. If there's an enemy right there, instead, I mean, I'm thinking, yeah, how can I hit him with my Q? How can I hit him with my autos? How can I hit him with my ult? But more importantly, it's like, all right, how can I position so that I can still be getting Qs and autos off on them while still hitting most of my scatter shots on them? And I think that it has a decently high skill cap. Yes, Hanzo is very strong right now, but I do think that if they maybe tweak him back a little bit more, he'll be in a spot where he's very, very rewarding to people who are able to land those effectively, and he can be really fun to play. So I highly recommend trying him out, especially with this build, because it can be really fun. And also, as you saw, you can start just spamming dragons like crazy. Let me make a few of these. And yeah, if the enemy team is clustered up, oh look, I get dragons for days. It's fun. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope that this is a bit informative about how to go about scatter build. And I will most likely be making a collection of some snippets I have of funny scatter kills at some point. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on stream or in the next video. Take care.